really think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me!
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moon Light, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMazMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
And Seymour with a payoff pitch. And he's in there for strike three. Came back with a fastball at 89. Cora livid with that call, and he's going to be tossed.
You have to. I mean, you have to. You have to.
Two-way.
I mean, he called the right zone against Kelly. You can complain about where those pitches were last inning on Zach. They were just down. They were just off. I get it. But you cannot come back here in this inning, a half inning late on a 3-2 fastball that is down. You can't do it.
Alex Cora's been tossed out.
Kyle Hudson's yelling about that, too.
And now the Red Sox maybe down to the last man here who sit on Raffaello. Valentine just missed it. First and second. But now two down in the 11th. And he lines it, caught. And that's the ball game.
So it ended at Fenway Park last night. Red Sox 10-8 losers to the Tampa Bay Rays in 11 innings. Which brings us to June 10th, 2025. And sometimes you feel like you're watching the same movie or living the same day over and over again. Groundhog Day. Remember that one, Jimmy? Remember the movie Groundhog Day where you live the same day over and over again? There's only one difference with the 2025 Red Sox and the movie Groundhog Day. In this case, it never gets better. It never gets better. It's the same dreadful day over and over again, except... again, not to give you sort of this breakdown of the movie Groundhog Day, but if you saw the movie, you know what happens. Bill Murray comes to the realization that he'll get a little bit better at something every single day. And then before he knows it, his life has completely changed. Except that the Red Sox don't get better at anything. They kind of suck always. So I wish I had something to tell you that I could really paint a rosier picture with. And if you look at the weekend series with the Yankees and you say, well, the Red Sox won 2 out of 3, I would tell you, well, yeah, but did they play any differently? So let me give you an example. Because, again, these examples I'm going to give you are all basically from the last few days. Okay, they're all from the last few days, starting with the beginning of the Yankee series on Friday night. So over the span of 4 days, we can count for the number of ridiculous screw-ups that this team has made in one facet of the game or another. So, for example, Saturday, Christian Campbell has a ball hit to him by DJ LeMahieu. This happens.
To second, and a wrong first step there from Campbell, and it's right by him. Yankees at the corners.
That's that ability to go to right field that I talked about with LeMahieu, one of the best of all time as a right-hander in Colorado, and then he came over here and had 2 really good years with the New York Yankees, and then injuries started piling up. Watch how good he is at staying inside and going the other way. And you mentioned it, kind of a bad read, bro. Just couldn't pick up the ball. Didn't pick up the ball and get to the spot where the ball was going away from him.
Well, Campbell, with his struggles at the plate, has also really struggled defensively.
That's right. Christian Campbell went the wrong way. He took a step to his right on a ball that went to his left. And then, after he sort of squared up, froze. Didn't react at all. How do you explain that? What, he didn't see it? Or a mental lapse? Wasn't paying attention and didn't see it come off the bat as a result? Just read it wrong? Was thinking about something else? What? Whatever it was a mental error, and one that leaves you scratching your head where you say, what the hell just happened there? Then on Sunday, Rafael Devers hits a ground ball to first base. This happens.
Devers swings. That's by Hill, and this is going to be a close one, but no, Devers is thrown out. It felt like it would be a lot closer than it was as Rafael Devers grounded out to DJ LeMahieu. Rafael Devers' ground ball got past Tim Hill. It felt like this was going to be a close play, and then Devers pulled up, which led you to wonder, was he hurt? Hill we get a chance to see Alex Cora's reaction when Devers comes off the field. Maybe thinking the same thing. Are you okay? Okay, and then sort of a look of shock.
Bewilderment.
Yes.
Raphael looked like he saw the play the whole way and thought, I'm going to be out. But that was a tough play, and he pulled up. And that's why you saw the reaction from Alex Cora.
Yeah, it felt like that had a chance to be an infield hit.
So, again, now you tell me, does Rafael Devers have some sort of leg injury? Alex Cora alluded to it. But in real time, Cora looked like, hey, what just happened there? And if you watch the play, when Devers gets through the bag, he turns around, starts going to the third base dugout, and immediately sort of starts to first his hand went toward his groin area, but then it went to the back of his hamstring. And before he grabbed, he sort of caught himself and brought his hand forward. So is something wrong with Devers? And if so, Cora didn't know about it. So Cora now doesn't know if one of his players is hurt? Either way, that doesn't look good for Alex Cora or Rafael Devers. Either Devers is hurt and Cora didn't know it, or Devers is fine and Cora's looking at him and saying, what the hell, you can't run that out? So again, Saturday, Campbell makes what looks like a mental mistake, hard to know, went the wrong way on a ground ball. Devers basically gives up running to first base halfway down the line. Those are more mental errors, I think, or effort, at least on the part of Devers, potentially. And I'm sorry, given the fact that Devers doesn't want to play third or first, I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a hard guy to defend at the moment. Then last night, ball hit the left field, Jarren Duran at left field. Danny Jansen running the bases, who is slow as molasses. This happens.
2-2. Line drive into left field, down for a base hit. Jansen rounding, and it's dropped by Duran. There will be no throw home. That'll make it 2-0 Tampa Bay. Jansen, who had been hit by the pitch, scores the run. And Lau continues to do damage against the Red Sox, his 36th RBI of the year.
Yeah, you got Jansen running too. He's going to send him. This would have been a good play at the plate. Durant was going to have a chance, and you mentioned, it's kind of been misting all night long. I don't know if it just sort of came up on him. He doesn't get a grip on it, obviously. But he would have had a chance, and he knows it. Jansen doesn't run well, and that hit pitch comes back to bite Bayo.
So this is really just the tip of the iceberg. Duran did not get an error on that play, but he's made 4 errors this year, tied with Wilyer Abreu for second most or third most among American League outfielders. The Red Sox have 15 outfield errors, most in the major leagues. The next closest team has 10. So let's see. They make physical mistakes. They make mental mistakes. They pitch like idiots sometimes. What am I leaving out? Oh, I'm sure they know the rules, though. At least they know the rules, right, Jimmy? Last night, for example, there was a great example of knowing the rules when there were runners at first and second for Tampa Bay. The ball was popped up between third and home plate. So infield fly rule, right? Everybody knows that one.
Brings up the dangerous Caminero. He's 0 for 1 with a pop to first. He has 2 on. Attacking the first one and pops this one up sky high. Wong looking for it. Here comes Meyer. Still coming. Can't get it. And that's a fair ball. Going to play it third. And the throw there now to second. Got him there! You got to be kidding me. Well, it was first and second. So infield fly was in effect. Runners do advance at their own peril.
The hitter should be out. They're going to have the infield fly.
Yep.
But it's not a force. And both runners took off. And Story thought it was a force. Caught the ball. As you see it here.
You did see the third base umpire and the home plate umpire. They did rule infield fly.
The call on the field was the infield fly. Since the ball was dropped, the runners can advance at their own risk. The runner at third is safe. The runner at second was tagged out. And the batter runner is out for infield fly rule.
Well, there you go. Campbell at second base. We obviously saw Story just sort of catch it like a force play. Story's throw actually took Campbell into the runner.
It did.
So it was almost a force and a tag at the same time. And because of that, Aranda is going to be out at second base. We see this play again.
Winds up a double play.
So there's the infield fly. It will be a double play. Wong does a good job throwing it to Story, who thinks it's a force, but when he throws it to second, Campbell on the force and actually tags him, gets both done. I don't know if that was intentional or not. If it was, it's extremely smart by Christian Campbell, because there's your tag. So what you'll have is 2 outs and a man on third, and that worked out rather nicely for the Sox.
Lou, you should know better. If the Red Sox are involved, it's not intentional. They don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know the rules. They don't know how to play the game. They don't know how to do any of this stuff. And I love Lou Merlone. The fact of the matter is, apparently we learned last night that stupidity loves company, because the Tampa Bay Rays didn't understand the infield fly rule either. Trevor Story, who's been in the big leagues for what, 10 years? More? Something like that? 10 years in the big leagues? Thought it was a force play at third base and then whipped the ball to Christian Campbell, who fortunately, as they said on the broadcast, was taken into the runner when he caught the ball, and thus it was a tag and force at the same time. So the Red Sox ended up getting two outs out of the play. Do you think they knew it? I know the Rays didn't, because their guys were running. So they're every bit as stupid as you are. Here's the point. The Red Sox aren't playing the game any better than they did at any other stage this season. They happen to beat the Yankees in a couple of games. Last night it bit them in the ass, because when you're stupid, it usually does. And when you pitch poorly, it usually does. And when you don't know how to hit and you have a bad approach at the plate, and when I say you don't know how to hit, that you're constantly racking up strikeouts and going 4 for 23 with runners in scoring position, you're not very good. Mental errors, physical errors. Roman Anthony came to the big leagues last night, overran a ball in right field, because that's what Red Sox right fielders do. Organizationally, I think they have been rotting from the inside. And I think that the problem is systemic. I think the Red Sox are caught up in highlights. Their players are, at the very least. They play like they're always playing for the highlight. Ceddanne Rafaela tries to hit home runs and throw people out at the plate, regardless of whether it's the right thing to do in any given situation. Wilyer Abreu charges every ball in the outfield like he wants to come up throwing and gun someone down at third base, even if they're up 8-2 and it's not the right play to make. They throw every pitch like Zach Kelly does, whipping it 100 miles an hour or trying to spin the crap out of it without any real idea of where it's going to go. Because that's what they're taught. That's how they play. The Red Sox are dumb. They're a dumb team. They're a selfish team. I just, and part of the problem I wonder sometimes is how much the fan base feeds into it. Particularly the people under the age of 35 who live on their phones and just want everything in snackable size. So you see the highlights and you'll see the home run by Rafaela or the throw or the catch by Rafaela, but you won't see all the stupid stuff, and you don't understand what's really involved in playing winning baseball anymore. I don't think the Red Sox do. I think they're hollow. I said this earlier. I think they are a hollow team. So now Roman Anthony's here, and the same garbage is happening that's been happening all year long. Think of that. The guy that's supposed to be their best prospect, the number one prospect in baseball, he comes to the big leagues and looks just like everybody else. And he makes the same mistake Wilyer Abreu makes in right field. Why is that? Why does Jarren Duran continue to drop the ball and be sloppy? Or Rafaela last night, forget what the score of the game was? Because that happened too. I only gave you a small sample. Wait till I read the whole list to you. 617-779-0985. Your calls, your thoughts on the Red Sox. It's not changing, folks. It's the same thing every day. Groundhog Day. Every single day they do something stupid. Get to your calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
And rightfully so, with the top prospect in baseball up with the bases loaded. Anthony drills it deep right center field, and the Roman Empire has done it again. Second homer of the week, and his second grand slam of the year.
Guy loves the moment, huh? Sinker up, a swing, he knew it. Outfielders didn't move. Had a swing to blow this open. He struggled a little bit this week. That was a toss of the bat and a weight gone.
That was over the weekend. Roman Anthony hit a 497-foot home run. It was a grand slam that everybody got all geeked up about on, X and the internet, and people are emailing us about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which I understand. Young player, everyone wants the lottery ticket. Here comes the savior with this great power, et cetera. Then he gets to the big leagues, and he overruns a ball in the outfield, and it gets by him, and the Red Sox lose the game to the Tampa Bay Rays 10-8. So my question is for those of you out there who keep eating up all this stuff about these young players, what good does it do if they don't win? What good does it do if they don't win games and it's not in a winning effort? So what, you get the viral video on your phone and that gets celebrated like some sort of grand achievement because a guy hit a 497-foot home run in AAA, and you don't look further than that? That's all that matters is that home run, that you're just living for the highlight. So this is the part that drives me nuts. What do you value? And what do the Red Sox value in their players? Because all these guys who are coming up, they feel like they all have the same problem. It's the same thing over and over again. And I'm not expecting them to come up and have all the answers right away. But the Red Sox don't have a network around them where they can still play and work out the kinks. This is the problem. They're all learning on the fly. So the Red Sox have done a poor job putting a nucleus in place and an environment where these guys can come up and make their mistakes and the team can still win. They didn't build that. And now they've got them all up at the same time and they're all still making mistakes and the team blows. Well, that's a really great way to build a winning culture in an organization. So Roman Anthony is on the field today, taking ground balls, learning how to field balls in the outfield properly so that they don't shoot by him like they did last night, or like it did last night. You and I know this. Many people know this because you played at least a little baseball. It's so basic that the fact that Roman Anthony didn't do it last night is alarming. And again, not entirely his fault. When he charged that ball, he came at it from the side, and his glove, when he put it down on the field, was sideways. The pinky finger of the glove was basically parallel to the ground. The webbing has to be basically scraping the grass. It's got to be pointed down. They had to teach him that? This is the kind of stuff that's not getting done anymore. And so when they come to the big leagues, these guys don't know how to field a hit to the outfield that's on the ground because Wilyer Abreu screws this up half dozen times a year. This is where we are. This is what they are. They're not ready when they get here. They're not teaching them to play in the minors. They didn't put up a good enough support structure in the big leagues to make the transition easier. Their star player is selfish. The guy they signed to be their leader is hurt. So this is what you get. And it's been this way for 6 years. Pretty much. Bob in Londonderry. Bob, what do you got? Bob, are you there?
Yeah, you couldn't be any more correct as you always are. This is the game we've had now. We've had it for years. The players can do what they want. They're not expected to perform. If they do, they don't. And the last several days, all we kept hearing about this new guy. Oh, he hits home runs 18 miles long. I understand it's the first game. But wouldn't it have been good had things went different where you guys can now say, he had a hot night, he did this, he did that. And that just is not the way the game works. And it's not going to work. And that's just the way it is. That's it.
So, Bob, look, this is, and now I feel like a parent. Like I feel like I'm lecturing you, and I probably do that a lot. But do people understand that in order to win, you got to do the basic stuff every single day? It's like going to work. It's the same deal. The basic stuff has to get done every single day. There's no way around that. If it doesn't get done, you fail. End of story. Wait till you hear the list of screw-ups from the last 4 days alone when I get to them. But I want to take some of your calls first. Andy in Honolulu, of all places, on Alex Cora. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, hey, Maz. You know what I've learned to come to value over these last 4 dreadful years is a manager and a GM that can work in a relationship. I just wanted to point out something that jumped out to me last night, right? So the Tampa Bay Rays, their GM brings up a AAA starter who's never pitched in the big leagues because they have a depleted bullpen over their weekend series. What does Kevin Cash do? He goes to this unknown rookie, first MLB appearance, goes to him in the bottom of the 10th to try to close out and hold an 8-7 lead. What does Conman Cora do? Well, he goes ahead and he goes to Zach freaking Kelly, of all guys, with his 6+ ERA instead of the AAA starting pitcher Von Bell that Breslow handed to him, because there is no relationship. They don't work, and it's just another example. Cora's got to go. He's the wrong guy for a young team. We all know it. Just another example.
So, Andy, look, I think they're a bad fit, too, and I would say that the Red Sox just aren't in alignment. I don't think they've been in alignment for a long time. To compare them to the Rays, though, is a hard thing to do for this reason. Tampa, and I'm not sure Von Bell would have worked out either. So there's no guarantee that works. Should they be compared to the Rays at all? This is my issue. Tampa has no choice. They have no choice. They don't have the revenue streams that the Red Sox have. They can't build their team the same way. They get 10,000 people a night. They're playing in a AAA stadium this year while theirs gets rebuilt. But even when they're in a regular ballpark, they're still only getting 10 or 15,000 people a night. The Red Sox get that alone in out-of-towners because the ballpark's a draw. So to compare them to Tampa Bay to me is stupid. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying they should aspire to be something bigger than that. They shouldn't have to do it the same way. They should have established veteran guys in the lineup and integrate young players into that so there's no pressure on the young guys. It's hard to do it the Tampa Bay way in a place like Boston because people like me are going to lose their minds. You pay way too much for the game to go to a game. And I haven't gone to Fenway Park yet this year, so I'm not talking about me. If the product's good, everyone will go. But the product's not good. They're hard to watch. They play stupid. They're sloppy. They bitch about the umpires. They don't know the rules, all of which means they're unprepared. The one thing you deserve is a prepared team. They're not prepared in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not just talking about the manager and the coaching staff. They're also not prepared to handle young players at the big league level because they don't have the right pieces around them. It's infuriating, and it never changes. To your point, to the caller's point, the manager and the GM, they're not on the same page. Everybody's got these separate jobs, but none of them seem to work together. The manager's more of an old school baseball guy than he is an analytics guy. The GM is an analytics guy who played, but let's not kid ourselves. He's got an Ivy League education. There's no real connection between him and Cora. The pitching coach was brought in by the GM. The hitting coach feels loyal to the manager. Meanwhile, they're not teaching him anything at the minor leagues. Does it feel synced up? Does it feel like they're working together? I don't think they're even close. And I'm not sure how they fix it. I almost think that this year is a lost cause, and not because of how many games they're out in the wild card of the division. I just think their problems are so significant and so deep-rooted, I don't think they can fix them at the big league level in real time. I hope I'm wrong. But man, do they suck. Holy crap. Just in the last, I'll tell you what, let me hold the thought. Just in the last 4 or 5 days. We'll go over the list of mistakes that they've made. Just in the Yankee series and the Tampa opener. Kevin Majori's got your headlines.
sub.
So now Yandy Diaz, a base hit and a run scored in the fourth inning. And he'll line that one stiff into right field. And that's going to get right through Anthony and keep on rolling. Here comes Lau coming around. He's going to score. Diaz all the way to third, and he will stop there. And that'll make it 3-0 Tampa Bay, and a couple of gifts, at least one of them anyway in the inning. 3-0 the Rays.
Well, he's out in right field, but it's easy to say he hasn't played much right field. But this is a ground ball, right? Like whether it's right field, center field, and you can see he really tries to catch it on the side of his body rather than kind of getting in front of it and catching it more in front of his body, and just sort of scoots by him. Cedon is there to get it in. Not before Lau's able to score from first base.
So base hit and an E9.
So let me ask you, how many of these guys do the Red Sox have to bring up and you see make stupid plays before you realize the problem isn't necessarily the players? It's the system. So whatever it is that the Red Sox aren't doing, it's apparent that it's happening with all of them. It's happening with all these guys. Cedon Rafaela still makes stupid mistakes. Wilyer Abreu overruns balls constantly. I haven't seen Marcelo Meyer make a lot of stupid mistakes yet. He was a number 4 pick in the draft. He feels like a natural to me, although Alex Cora won't let him play against left-handed pitching, which to me is kind of a mistake. It's not really the same thing as some of the other guys, but you get the idea. Tristan Casas, how was his game awareness? When Tristan Casas was healthy, before everyone says he was derailed by injury, how was his awareness of game situations on the field? Because I would tell you it was atrocious. Atrocious. Roman Anthony did not know how to field that ground ball. Lou Merlone talked about it right there. He came and went about it the entirely the wrong way. Christian Campbell at second base, have you watched him? Does he look ready to play the big leagues defensively? Even offensively now. He's hit a little in the last couple of games, but he's plummeted since the start of the year. Jarren Duran, when he came to the big leagues 2 years ago, 3 years ago, did he look ready to play in the majors? Or did he look like not even close? So this is the part that I'm worried about. What are they teaching them down there? Why aren't they learning it? Are they evaluating the players incorrectly from the beginning? Or are they teaching them improperly, or some combination of the two? They can't all suck. Just like I've said to you a million times, they can't all be good. They're not all going to be great. But if they all suck, something is wrong internally with the way the Red Sox are bringing up and developing these players. And just quickly, before we get back to your calls, just in the last, again, let's call it 4 days, Rafael Devers didn't run out a ball to first base. Christian Campbell went the wrong way on a ground ball that was pretty much hit right at him that should have been a double play. Duran misplayed a muffed ball in left field. Anthony misplayed and overran a ball last night. Rafaela forgot to score when he crossed the plate in the ninth inning last night. He thought the game was over. We'll play that one for you later. They screwed up an infield fly. They didn't know how to handle it. They didn't know whether it was force out, tag out. They had no idea. And that was Trevor Story, which while I'm at it, let me look it up. Trevor Story has been in the big leagues. Jimmy, you didn't look it up earlier, did you?
10 years.
10 years? Trevor Story has been in the big leagues for 10 years. He doesn't know that he has to tag a guy on the force out or on the infield fly roll? The ball dropped in the infield. Story was covering third. Throw down to him. He tagged the bag and threw to second. The runner came in. The runner stayed at third. They didn't get that guy out because Trevor Story didn't know. Apparently. You go up and down, and these guys do the same thing. They don't know how to bunt. They don't know how to move runners. They don't know how to cut off men. Zach Kelly takes the mound last night and bitches to the umpire on pitches that were balls. He and Narvaez both started to walk off the field when they thought they had a guy struck out. The replay showed both times the pitch was out of the strike zone. And Zach Kelly throws every fastball with all his might, and I know some of this is analytics and what they want, and he either throws with maximum velocity or tries to spin the crap out of it. Meanwhile, he can't get it over the plate and control it. So you tell me, like, don't you have to do both? So what the Red Sox now want from their pitchers, just like everybody else, is maximum velocity and maximum spin. Except the Red Sox pitchers suck at it, and other teams are good. A lot of those are smaller market teams. So you tell me, why isn't it working? And it's not working on any level. Ray and Leominster. Go ahead, Ray. What do you got?
Hey, Tony. Longtime fan of yours. Yeah, it's apparent these guys aren't learning anything down in AAA. And they're supposed to come up here to this team, the Major League team, and learn from a guy that takes pitches out too soon or that leaves pitches in too long or that last night walks the bases loaded with a guy that he knows can't throw strikes. I don't understand the logic from this manager. And I think it's quite apparent that these guys, maybe they didn't even want to play for this guy.
Yeah, so Ray, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I think part of the problem is you said they come up and have to learn from a guy who does this. And then you went on to list all the things that Cora does wrong, which I'm fine with. I stop at they come up and have to learn from a guy who. They shouldn't have to learn as much as they're having to learn up here. It used to be that there was an adjustment, right? Guys would come up from the minor leagues, come to the big leagues, and there was an adjustment to the speed of the game, the competition, learning the pitchers, learning the base runners, so which guys you could take your time throwing out on an infield ground ball, which guys you had to work a little more quickly, where to play them. Now the transitions don't involve any of that. The transitions involve things like fielding a ground ball, knowing what the infield fly rule is, hitting a cutoff man. Like, they don't know the simplest, basic fundamentals of the sport. And because why? Because they're all working with analysts on how to launch the ball higher, and they spend all their time doing that, or what? Someone has to explain it to me. Because I would argue the potential in some of these guys coming up is greater than I've ever seen in some of the kids coming out of the minor leagues. They're talented. Christian Campbell can hit. He can hit. He has the ability to be a terrific hitter. And Roman Anthony's got the size and the strength to not only hit for average, but hit for power. Marcelo Meyer's a natural baseball player. Just watch the way he moves. And they all get here. And again, Meyer I almost have to leave separately because I haven't seen a lot of mental mistakes with Meyer. But the other ones, they don't have a clue how to play. Alex in Connecticut. Go ahead, Alex.
Hi, Maz. You know, Maz, I'm so frustrated with everything, and I started sitting there and I started looking at since 2018 because that's when everything started really, when Heimblum came in. But, you can't really blame Heimblum. Well, I guess, again, I can blame Heimblum. But what's changed? Well, I started thinking, look at Dave Bush is gone. When we had bad years between, 21, 22, 23, 500-type years, Dave Bush was doing the pitching. Now, every time we were still competitive enough to go for a wild card because of the pitching. Dave Bush now is in Texas with Maddox, and their pitching is one of the best staffs in baseball. Not only that, I looked and I said, Tampa Bay is always known for pitching. So I look it up and I see Kyle Snyder and Rick Knapp's the assistant pitching coach. History, they're both from AAA Durham, where they were pitching coaches for years. And now in 2022, after 5 years, is when they brought Rick Knapp out. So they've been pitching with these kids in their system, not just for today and yesterday, but for years. These kids know who these guys are.
So, Alex, look, I'm going to let you go just because we're up against it. That's part of it. It's part of it. I also think some of it is the talent. Now, again, the positional players are easier to identify. Marcelo Meyer was the 4th pick in the draft. Roman Anthony's the number 1 prospect in baseball. And Christian Campbell rocketed through the system last year, although he's a somewhat of a unique case, too, in that it went so fast, he really hasn't played all that much baseball. And it shows. So I'm not going to tell you that the mistakes are all on one level. I think the Red Sox have failed in so many areas of this whole thing that it's impossible to figure out exactly where the biggest problem is. I don't believe in the analytics type of approach that they're taking. I don't believe in Craig Breslow's ability to evaluate talent because I'm not sure he does it by anything other than a spreadsheet. So I don't like Andrew Bailey's approach on the mound. All they do is spin the crap out of it. That feels foolish to me. Like, what, we're just going to keep throwing sliders all the time? That's how they're going to pitch? I don't believe in their offensive approach because all they try to do is hit home runs. They suck with men in scoring position. And defensively, they've been the worst. They've been the worst defensive team in the big leagues for 6 years. What are they good at? I keep asking this question. What are they good at? And the answer? Losing. They are great at losing because they do it for $250 million. Most teams lose for a lot less than that. We'll wrap it up when we come back.
Maz, and more of the Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Toro switching over to hit right-handed. Here comes the 1-0. Ground ball at first. Little bobble there. Throw to first base. Threw it away. Here comes the run. Sanon is in to score. Tampa Bay throwing it away. It's 8-8. This game was over. It should have been ended right there.
This is Sanon. I think he forgot the Rays had scored because he came around. And when he crossed home, the helmet came off. I think he was wondering where everybody was. Everybody come out and then put it back on again.
Oops. That was the tying run, not the winning run.
It's important still.
So that happened too. Red Sox tied the game in the bottom of the ninth. Sanon Raffaello took off his helmet, was ready to throw it in the air and start the celebration. He forgot to score. Even when the Red Sox do something right, they do something wrong. See if we can squeeze in another call here. Stephen Peabody. Steve, you got to be quick.
I will be. Hey, thanks. Listen, you learned this in Little League, okay? You don't have to learn it in the minors at AAA. Come on. It played in high school and college. These guys are idiots.
So, look, that's sort of how I feel. It's a really stupid team. I don't know any other way to say it. They're really stupid. You know, there's a difference between like stupid, like running into walls, you know, slamming their head on the dugout steps or whatever. Like that's there's sort of a lovable stupid, and then there's an infuriatingly incompetent stupid, and they're the second one. The Red Sox are uniquely stupid, devastatingly stupid. In fact, they really are destroying their own season. They don't know how to play the sport. It blows me away. Again, it's a game that everyone has played as a kid, which is why people, have such strong opinions about it. There are certain fundamental things that we were all taught that were a given, and they don't do them. Blows me away. Unbelievable. Joe Murray's got you for the rest of the night. Kevin Majori's got your headlines here. Another game tonight. We'll see what stupidity comes out of this one. We'll catch you tomorrow.